Coming at you from New Jersey, the capital of misery and the place where metal forgot to die.
This is the hereliesmetal Too Many Notes New Music Review. I'm Samantha R.
And I am Maledictus, and we shall be your vote today and all of eternity. Welcome! Today, we have something called...
You say it.
Baazlvaat, with many vowels.
I think that's correct. Baazlvaat?
Baazlvaat. It's got a lot
Okay.
of vowels, and it's about the old. It's called an old forgotten text.
Okay. Baazlvaat is an experimental black folk metal outfit from Flint, Michigan. They are Nilorg pipe on vocals, drums, and bass, and Declan on guitars, bass, and vocals.
Just Declan.
This is their fourth album, follow-up to last year's The Higher Power, and it's their fourth album in 3 years, so they're really pumping them out.
They're based on their
Very
album.
prolific.
The titles are up to something. These guys are definitely up to something. Right.
And An Old Forgotten Text came out on June 4th, independently on Bandcamp. And I do want to read, they had a little note on Bandcamp. It says, "A new work, to see the world through different eyes. It will be rejected by the masses, as in the prophecies."
It's not the idea.
Black metal, yes, I
Yeah,
think.
right? You're supposed to. Yeah, I mean, it's fine, guys. It's not a big deal.
All right.
Okay, let's get on with this review. It's now time for the 5-point bidirectional classification scale, including the categories of genre loyalty, listenability, production style, music complexity, and just plain fun. Neither side of these scales means goods or bads. Let's continue.
Okay, our first scale of genre, true to nonconformist. We are getting the rare 5 for nonconformist. 5, not true. 5, all the way,
All the way.
nonconformist.
The needle
So-
is pinned.
I mean, we do have some black metal on the album, but we also have mostly prog. We've got some psych space rock on here. We've got stoner metal. And I even identify like indie rock elements to it. So I hesitate to even call this album metal, but there are some basic elements. Keeping it metal, the black metal roots, there are some riffs in there. Not all the riffs are black metal for sure, but there's like a current of black metal riffs. They have, some blast beat sections. That's like the true test of black metal. This is black metal sections, I call them, where they have the blast beats over the riffs.
This is black metal.
This is black metal. They're there, but they don't sound normal, okay? They're like, there's no wall of sound, this is black metal moment.
Now
It's
that's
like a
black
very
metal.
jangly and fun version of this is black metal.
Yes.
And so, of course, there is a black metal vocal, kind of a croaking, rasping black metal vocal on here, but there's also a lot of clear vocals, kind of a goofy, amusing sounding clear vocal to my ears. I think a good example of the album is track 5, The Missing Key, just for like the genre, to see where it goes. Like it starts out with some very mean sounding black metal, but then it goes into this very goofy, proggy, clear vocal section, which then leads into a goofier stoner clear vocal section, and then the black metal vocal takes over for the clear vocal on the stoner section and sings a black metal stoner song, which I really enjoy. But yeah, that's just it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's like you're listening and it's like, oh, there comes that black metal guy again, but now he's singing over the goofy part.
Yes,
so,
I've never heard someone sing in a black metal vocal in like a stoner cadence. It's a very distinct kind of cadence, like boom, boom, like.
Yeah, it's so nonconformist. That just gives you nonconformist cred. I mean, it's just out of control. This might be the most dynamic album we've ever covered, I think. It's pure madness in the form of musical notes. It's a lot of prog. I mean, it's a legit prog. I mean, I'm hearing like parts that I would put in a Genesis song and stuff with their little organ there. Like it just works so well. Most people do not like have the skill or the balls to do prog like this these days. I feel like, especially if you're in metal, you're this is just like their mind is in a different place, and that's a good thing.
Well, I think people do it, but it's not stuff that usually speaks to me. Like it's usually very serious.
Right,
and,
serious, right.
I think definitely the black metal elements bring me in more than just like this clean prog album a lot of people would do, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay. Now for our next scale, Sonic Terror to Distorted Pop, we're going to have a first here for a black metal album, and I'm going to put it as a 3.5 in the pop end. I mean, you know, even the meanest sections of the black metal are nowhere near as mean as black metal can get, but that alone, like, you know, if it was all that sound, like it would maybe be like a 2.5 on the Terror, but just all the prog, the stoner sections, it's just a nice listen. It's very listenable. It is not harsh at all to my ears anyway. I mean, maybe some people can't get over a harsh vocal like that. That's all over the album. There is that black metal vocal. I would say it's 70% of the singing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think, you know, despite that.
But other than that, yeah, it's very melodic, you know, and you know it's not at all dissonant. It's just very nice. But other than that, like it's got a lot of strong loose song structures, and a number of them are very long. It's definitely kind of a linear journey. We're not, you know, and it's kind of a loopy kind of listen. So that is pulling it, making it kind of like less listenable and more intimidating, I would say. But overall, yeah, just kind of nice and engaging. Like the songs are so catchy that even though they're like 8 minutes long and go a lot of different places, like they're so engaging and dynamic that it's very listenable.
Yeah, despite that black metal goblin, you know, rearing his head into some, you know, a lot of the songs, a lot of the times, he kind of brings it down to, you know, to less, you know, he brings it down away from distorted pop a little bit. But, you know, otherwise, you know, he's singing over, you know, this very rather pleasant music most of the time. And sometimes you're like, is this even metal? Is this metal, like the theme? This is metal with the butterfly, right? Or is this metal, right? Sometimes no. And it's an interesting mix of all kinds of genres in one. So it's, you know, so that's why, you know, it's kind of has to stay where it is, more nearer to distorted pop than Sonic Terror.
Okay, the production scale, Fisher-Price to high production, Maledictus.
All right, so we're deep in Fisher-Price territory here. The Fisher-Price tape recorder is at work here. Which makes this album even more impressive, knowing what they did with the Fisher-Price tape recorder. It's something of this level. You know, unlike like a lot of 1 or 2 member bands like we have here, which is a lot of people on Bandcamp, I say. The majority of those kind of bands benefit with the miracle technology of easy home recording software suites, complete with digital inputs and drum samples. Baazlvaat kind of sounds like they're staying true to the good old days of home recording, like back in the 90s. It all sounds real. You know, like I said, they put that Fisher-Price tape recorder in the room and put that mic in a room, and they recorded. You know, and maybe they have some little bit of tracking, but I don't think there's a lot of tracking here. You know, those drums are natural. You know, if it proved to me those drums, if you go and tell me, if you guys like read this and you comment, you're like, no, those drums weren't real, I am not going to believe you. You know, those drums sound very real, like they're in a room. Sounds like a real guitar, you know, on a real amp. There's possibly a bass in there. I guess there's probably a bass in there. And, you know, there's this curious organ network throughout the whole album, which is kind of cool. It's a really cool twist. Kind of gives it this proggy feel sometimes, or sometimes it gives it this scary feel. But, you know, there's an organ that's being very well played. It's not like some guy banging out an organ. He's playing like real stuff on this organ. So, yeah, you know, it's very impressive. Even though it's Fisher-Price, it's very impressive for a Fisher-Price production.
Okay, our note scale, where we count the notes, this is going to get a 4.5 for too many notes. There's a lot of, you know, very fast, noodly guitar lines and synth lines. And all that prog happening. There's a lot going on all the time. The only thing that I think keeping this from a total 5 is that they're not afraid to kind of pull back and have these kind of airy, much less dense, kind of like simple elements or simple parts or refrains that feel almost acoustic. I mean, they're not playing anything acoustic, but it feels, you know, there's a lot of room to breathe at certain parts of this album. So.
Yeah, despite that homebrewed recording sound that we just mentioned, the musical complexity is consistently, you know, on the opposite side of that scale. It's pretty complex musically. There are lots of notes. There's lots of chord changes that appear to fit into some sort of theoretical geometry, so gives it a pleasant sound. It's very proggy time signatures. There's a lot of time signature changes. You know, count along, you'll see. There's a lot of conflicting ideas among these songs. A lot of, or maybe those ideas are more harmonious than conflicting. Who knows? But overall, these might be the ramblings of complete madmen or the manifesto of geniuses. You decide. There's something going on. But like I said, upon watching, upon listening to these songs, and even watching their YouTube video.
Excellent song titles.
Something's going on here. Something is going on.
Well, moving right along to the fun scale, I'm kind of not sure on this, but I'm going to give it a 1.5 for fun.
I think it's fun. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I don't know if if going goblin mode has been overdone. It's over, but this is like goblin mode, the album.
There's a goblin singing.
It's just someone just being completely unhinged and crazy in the woods is what the sound of this album is. Mm-hmm. I legitimately laughed at one point on this album on track 2. Let me see what track 2 is called. I legitimately laughed at one point in this album. Track 2, 3 Heads from the Black Depths. Just on the chorus, so it has like the black metal goblin vocal, and then it has like a call and response with like a kind of a different, like a different kind of black metal vocal that's more like a frog or a toad.
Yeah, there's another guy in the forest singing
And I don't know why, I just found that really funny. Yeah. It sounds really funny.
It's different characters.
In like a good way, not that I thought it was like sad or something or like stupid. Like I was like, this is awesome.
I wonder if it's all the same guy singing, or he's doing different voices, or if it's different guys singing.
Both members were credited with vocals, but I don't know. Maybe one's just like a backing vocal, but or maybe I don't know if they both do black metal vocals. Okay. But I would say the overall mood of this is triumphant and wondrous. And the only reason I don't say it's a 1 for fun, it's just because I'm not sure. Like, they could just be having a totally great good time doing this, or they could be very serious.
Yeah, it could be.
They might be very serious. They might be, taking some serious drugs, I would say.
Maybe.
And having some very profound experiences, and this is the result. So
mushrooms in the forest.
It's a 1.5 for me, but it's also a question mark.
Yeah, these guys could be trolling, or they could be completely serious, or maybe they're very seriously trolling us. I don't know. I can't really tell. Like, because I just saw their YouTube like just right now, so like I'm watching some videos there, and I can't tell if they're serious or not. So.
I feel like they're making some art house cinema there. They're gonna make in the next Harmony Korine film. They're gonna. I
don't know if you guys are crazy or if you're trolling. It doesn't matter. Don't tell me. Don't comment about that. Let the mystery stand. Don't reveal yourselves. Be like Kiss. Keep on the costumes. Whatever it is. So I like what's going on here. This is crazy, and your other albums are fucking crazy too. So listening to like very briefly. It's. You guys are onto something. You're up to something, and you're onto something.
All right, let's look at the art. I couldn't find a credit on the art, so I'm just going to assume they did this themselves.
All right. What is there's a lot of symbols here.
There's a lot going on. I get a very strong Twin Peaks vibe off of this. Like, this seems like the map they find in the cave.
Right.
I think that's the Black Lodge symbol there on the boot.
Oh, yeah. What was that? Right, that's the Black Lodge symbol.
And so we have the Native American imagery with the atomic imagery, which is very Twin Peaks The Return, specifically.
Yes.
I'm not sure about the 3-headed guy. That I don't know about. But we've got, some wildlife.
Looks like Aquaman or something. This is a biohazard symbol. So I wonder what the significance of that is, and this is their logo, I guess, right in the middle.
Right? But
are we gonna,
not talking about Twin Peaks necessarily connecting it to another piece of media. It definitely gives a sense of like the wilderness, where obviously it does have a very wilderness feel. The album as well.
Right, it's like
but also like something is wrong.
I'm gonna say this is like a hiking boot, right? Like this is
that's a hiking.
Yeah, this isn't like a skinhead boot. This is like a hiking boot. Like this isn't like a punk rock Doc Martin. This is like a hiking boot specifically.
Yeah, I immediately thought it was a hiking boot.
Yeah, because it's got a little belt on it. Yeah.
Not sure what that crest with the deer means.
Oh yeah, it's a crest with the deer, and then you have like a knife through their. This is their symbol. Yeah, I guess this is their symbol.
Their logo is up top.
Oh, right. There's your logo, right? So I wonder what this is.
You can read that, right?
No, that's perfect.
It says Baazlvaat.
Yeah, totally. See it. Yep, Baazlvaat. Gotcha. Totally read it.
It also has this kind of sense of like like one of those like old like TV.
Yeah, like like the Indian head. Yeah, the TV like we'll
like
be back.
When the TV's not in service.
Yeah, it had the Indian head on it.
Have this image up.
Yeah, right. So we don't know.
You know, maybe like, you know, you're living out in the woods and you turn on your TV and you see this and you're like,
yeah,
something's wrong. The aliens came. There was an experiment, an atomic experiment that went wrong.
A venomous snake.
Got a 3-headed dude.
The venomous snake here.
So
this is looks like almost like a radar sweep. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
These guys are up to something.
It's a very fitting album cover, I would say. This is what you're gonna hear. I like anything that's in a neon color. I enjoy the neon color for sure.
Day glow, like
you got some simple drawings on a neon color. It's good. I like it.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys are on some FBI lists. That's fine. That's the way to do it these days. We all have FBI agents. Right, or on personal ones, right, these days. But yeah, this is special. Like, yeah, this is coded. It's like a codex or something. You know, I like it. I like the mystery. You guys are mysterious, so never change.
Yeah, and you feel like all these symbols are meaningful.
Yeah, like it means something, but we can't figure it out. But that's fine. It's not for us then, right?
We're too normal for this.
Yes, well, too normal.
We went hiking and we didn't take acid, so
I would like to find my way home, so I didn't take acid. Right. So.
All right. In conclusion, I think this album was fucking awesome, and it was very fun listen. I think it was a nice, very significant step up too from their last album, which is kind of a similar feel, but I feel like they weren't as good at recording. I think this was much more tighter, even though it's a very loose album. I think it's like purposefully loose. And I just love all the blending. I love weird black metal. I also kind of appreciated it a lot too because another hour long. Okay, first off, this album is an hour long, and I can listen to the whole thing. The only constraint is if I don't have time for it, but I'm happy to sit down and listen to it if I have the time.
It doesn't get boring. Yeah,
there's another weird black metal album that's also an hour long that just came out by Negative Plane, The Pact, which I feel like is a very nice companion piece for that. Where this one is kind of light and like it's got darkness to it, but it's kind of like nice and fun. And The Pact is like dark and evil, but also kind of has fun heavy metal elements. So we're not going to review The Pact, even though I liked it a lot. But I don't know why. I feel like it's interesting that these both came out very close to each other, and they're kind of like opposite sides of the same coin, the same very strange coin. But yes, a very cool album.
All right, folks. Well, that's the review of Baazlvaat,
Thank you.
Old Forgotten Text.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to check us out on the Instagram. What's our Instagram?
Metalize Here.
Metalize Here. Twitter. Check out Twitter. Check out the Herelies Metal.
Herelies Metal.
Right. There's all the stuff on there. Right. Sign up to our Facebook, Herelies Metal Facebook. And make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'll see you again next time with another review